kept the table set, the candles burning low. I turned away the friends who told me I should go. I saved every voicemail, every digital ghost, to be the anchor for the one who needed me most. I lived in the almost, I lived in the soon, howling at a hollow white-faced moon. I gave up my seasons, I gave up my pride, to be the steady hand on a one-sided ride. I thought I was building a life on a rock, but I was just watching a stopped over clock. I was a soldier in a war that was done, waiting for a signal from a dead-end sun. And I stayed for nothing, I waited for air in a room full of shadows and a ghost of a prayer. I poured all my fever, I poured all my light into the hollow of a long and lonely night. I'm a map with no city, a bell with no ring, mourning the heart of a beautiful thing. Now the rust is deep and the pulse is thrumming for a forever that was never actually coming. I saw you today, and the truth hit me hard. You didn't look broken, you didn't look scarred. You'd move the mountains I'd built in my head, and replaced all the always with never instead. I'm a fool in a fortress, a king of the dust, left with the wreckage of an absolute trust. I wasted the years that I'll never get back, watching the train as it ran off the track. If I'd left in the summer, if I'd left in the spring, I'd still have the spirit to be able to sing. But I waited for winter, I waited for frost, until every piece of my center was lost. Yeah, I stayed for nothing, I waited for air in a room full of shadows and a ghost of a prayer. I poured all my fever, I poured all my light into the hollow of a long and lonely night. I'm a map with no city, a bell with no ring, mourning the heart of a beautiful thing. Now the rust is deep and the pulse is thrumming for a forever that was never actually coming. Just a was, just a word, a blur in the mirror, a ghost of a hurt. The plans are all gone, the dawn is still gray. In the state for nothing of my life today. Tell my reflection that I've turned the page, that I finally stepped off the center of the stage. I've rearranged the furniture and painted the hall to hide all the marks where we leaned on the wall. I go to the market, I smile at the clock, I bury my head in the mountain fog, and for a few hours the engine runs smooth, like I finally found a version of truth. But then a song plays from a passing car, or I see a silhouette that looks like you are, and the concrete gives way like it's made out of glass, watching the ghost of our chemistry pass. And I still fall apart like a house in a storm. I can't find the place where the world stays warm. Just when I think that the healing has stopped, I'm 1,000 pieces in the back of a truck. It's a sudden collapse, it's a gravity pull, when the hollow is heavy and the silence is full. I try to stand tall, I try to play smart, but I still fall apart. It's the way that the light hits the passenger seat, or the smell of the rain on a summer-baked street. It's a how have you been from a mutual friend that brings back the how did we get to the end. I'm a puzzle that's missing the final 3 bits, watching the way that the memory hits. I've built up these walls with a master's precision, but they crumble away at a moment's decision. They say that it's linear, a straight upward line, that you wake up one morning and feel just full. But I'm a spiral, a circle, a tide, with nowhere for a broken spirit to hide. And I still fall apart like a house in a storm. I can't find the place where the world stays warm. Just when I think that the healing has stopped, I'm 1,000 pieces in the back of a truck. It's a sudden collapse, it's a gravity pull, when the hollow is heavy and the silence is full. I try to stand tall, I try to play smart, but I still fall apart. like the very first time. I'm losing the rhythm, I'm losing the rhyme. I'm okay until I'm not in the same old lonely broken spot. But I still fall apart. Turn the TV up to block out the floor, but I still hear your keys hit the tray by the door. I'm listening to ghosts in the hum of the fridge, to the come back home from a broken bridge. I hear your laughter in the steam of the sink, a phantom vibration that won't let me blink. I'm a radio tuned to a frequency of gone, still picking up signals in the break of the dawn. It's the creak of the wood, it's the sigh of the vent, a hollowed out echo of where the earth went. I'm shouting at shadows, I'm talking to air, but I find your voice under every step. And I still hear you in the cracks of the night, in the heavy dark spaces between the lights. It's a good morning, darling, that'll never be said, ringing like a hammer inside of my head. I've closed all the windows, I've locked every gate, but the sound of your spirit is arriving too late. I'm a haunted house with a leaden view, because God, I still hear you. I went to the market and I heard your name in the mouth of a stranger. It didn't sound the same. It lacked the music, it lacked the heat that used to make my heart skip a steady beat. I'm a record that's finished, but the needle is stuck in a groove of forever and a run of bad luck. I try to speak over the noise in my chest, but you never again won't let me rest. They say that the silence is a peaceful thing, but for me it's a bell that won't stop its ring. It's a choir of almost and a symphony of if falling away from the edge of the cliff. Yeah, I still hear you in the cracks of the night, in the heavy dark spaces between the light. It's a good morning, darling, that'll never be said, ringing like a hammer inside of my head. I've closed all the windows, I've locked every gate, but the sound of your spirit is arriving too late. I'm a haunted house with a leaden view, because God, I still hear you. Just a whisper in the hallway, I'll hear you tomorrow, and I'll hear you today. Just an echo, just a ghost of the one I needed the most. I still hear you. I've practiced the how to be fine in the mirror. I've made the distance feel closer and clearer. I filled up my schedule and turned out the light, but I'm failing the test in the middle of the night. The logic is sound and the experts all say that the memory of us should be fading to gray. But I'm a mountain of salt in a summer rain, losing my edge to this hollowed out pain. I've got the strength to be standing alone, but I'm missing the marrow inside of the bone. I'm a masterpiece ruined by a permanent tear, still living in the shadow of never-end near. And I still need you. It's a physical ache, like a bone that was set but it's starting to break. I've done all the work and I've played every part, but I can't find the rhythm without your own heart. It's a jagged edge, always a light colored trust, watching the gold of my future turn dust. The world says I'm finished, but the spirit is true. God, I still need you. I saw your umbrella behind the hall door, a physical weight on the hardwood floor. I reached for the handle and I caught my breath, like I was a witness to a natural death. I'm a radio tower with a flickering beam, chasing the ghost of a neon-lit dream. I'm a map with no borders, a bell with no ring, mourning the pulse of a beautiful thing. If letting go was a ladder, I'd be at the top, but I'm a stone in a well that won't ever stop. I'm a before without any after, a hollowed out house with no sound of your laughter. Yeah, I still need you. It's a physical ache, like a bone that was set but it's starting to break. I've done all the work and I've played every part, but I can't find the rhythm without your own heart. It's a jagged edge, always a lead colored trust, watching the gold of my future turn dust. The world says I'm finished, but the spirit is true. God, I still need you. Still needing, still bleeding, the never again that I'm quietly reading. I'm here, but I'm gone in the cold, quiet break of the dawn. I still need you. I watch the seasons turn to gray while I was looking for a reason to stay. I ignored the cold, I ignored the cracks with a heavy heart and I bend it back. I was the one who kept the furnace high underneath the lead-colored winter sky. I tried to find the us in the way you moved, searching for a truth that was never proved. I bit my tongue until the copper tasted sweet, trying to keep the old ways from a slow retreat. I was a soldier in a war that was already won by a shadow of a ghost in a dead-end sun. And I tried to stay, I tried to be the rock, while I was watching the hands of a stopped-over clock. I poured my spirit into every hollow space, trying to find the light in your quiet face. But you were already gone, you were already through, and I was just drowning in the memory of you. It's a long-distance fall and a heavy-eyed view, because I tried to stay when I should have left too. The silent exits shine 1,000 times, but I was busy matching our old broken rhymes. I was the anchor, but the ship was made of mist, mourning the ghost of a mouth I once kissed. I'm a radio tower with a flickering beam, chasing the shadow of a neon-lit dream. I've got no more pleasers, I've got no more riffs, just the echo of us falling off of the cliffs. If I left in the spring, if I left in the spring, I'd still have the spirit to be able to sing. But I waited for winter, I waited for frost, until every piece of my center was lost. Yeah, I tried to stay, I tried to be the rock, while I was watching the hands of a stopped-over clock. I poured my spirit into every whole space, trying to find the light in your quiet face. But you were already gone, you were already through, and I was just drowning in the memory of you. It's a long-distance fall and a heavy-eyed view, just the was and the because. The silence is the only thing that's growing. I'm here, but I'm gone in the cold, quiet break of the dawn. I tried to stay. I polished every surface, I softened every edge. I lived my life out on the narrowest of ledges, trying to be the mirror where you'd see your own grace, searching for a flicker of a home inside your face. I changed the way I spoke, I changed the way I dreamed. I stitched up every single corner where we seemed. But no matter how much of myself I tried to give, It felt like I was pouring water through a sea. I climbed the highest mountains just to catch your eye, but you were always staring at a different part of sky. I was a steady fire in a world of bitter cold, but you wanted a story that I couldn't have told. And it's a jagged-edged truth, a bitter pill to rough, realizing that I was never enough. I gave you the marrow and I gave you the bone, but I was still standing in the garden alone. I was the anchor that you wanted to sail, watching the strength of my always start to fail. I broke my own heart just to keep yours tough, but God, I was never enough. You looked right through me like I was made of air, like a piece of the furniture, like a kitchen chair. I'd tell you my triumphs, I'd show you my scars, but you were busy counting up the distant, lonely stars. I'm a masterpiece ruined by a lack of your light, a radio broadcasting in the middle of the night, to a station that's silent, to a heart that is closed, to a version of us that was never composed. If I'd been taller, if I'd been more, would you have stayed and closed the bedroom door? Or is there a vacuum inside of your chest that no one known of always could ever lay to rest? Yeah, it's a jagged-edged truth, a bitter pill to rough, realizing that I was never enough. I gave you the marrow and I gave you the bone, but I was still standing in the garden alone. I was the anchor that you wanted to sail, watching the strength of my always start to fail. I broke my own heart just to keep yours tough, but God, I was never enough. Not a was, not a word, just a ghost of a blur. I gave all I had, in the good and the bad, but the hollow was deep and the mountain was steep. I was never enough. I've thrown out the calendar, I've stopped the clocks, but the ghost of your keys still turns in the locks. I tell my reflection that I'm doing fine, that I finally stepped over the us in the line, but the radio's humming a song that we knew, and suddenly everything's colored in you. I'm a mountain of salt, I'm a field of debris, whenever the memory catches up to me. I try to stay busy, try to stay loud, to lose your old shadow inside of a crowd, but the noise is a thin and a fragile disguise for the never again that is written in my eyes. open a drawer, and I felt the impact hit the kitchen floor. Just a list of the groceries, but don't forget bread. But it feels like a letter that's never been read. I'm a radio tower in a storm-stricken town, sending out signals while the wires go down. I'm shouting at shadows, I'm talking there, searching for an echo that isn't quite there. They say that the pulse is just a machine, moving the blood through the has-been and been. But mine is a hammer, mine is a drum, waiting for a someday that's never gonna come. Yeah, my heart still calls your name in the dark, like a desperate hand reaching out for a spark. I've told it to stop, I've told it we're through, but it doesn't know how to beat without you. It's a hollow vibration, a low frequency ache, a rhythmic reminder of every mistake. No matter the distance, no matter the walls, in the silence of midnight, my heart still calls. It calls like a bell in a valley that's covered in fog. Just a name, just a flame, and I'm the only one left who is playing the game. My heart still calls. I've stopped the bleeding, or so they say. I've scrubbed the crimson from the air every day. The scars are silver and the skin is closed. I'm back in the rhythm that the world composed. I'm eating dinner, I'm sleeping through. I built a wall where I once had you, but there's a coldness in the center of the bone, a hollowed out ache that I carry alone. They tell me that time is a needle and thread that'll stitch up the pieces and quiet the head. But the more that I pull, the more it gives way, like a castle of salt in a summer spray. And my heart won't heal, it won't find the mend. It's a broken down story with a jagged edged end. I've applied the silence, I've applied the pride, but there's no place for a fraction spirit to hide. I'm a masterpiece ruined by a perfect tear, still living in the shadow of a never-end near. The world says I'm fine, but the spirit is real. And God, my heart won't heal. I saw your shadow in the grocery glass and felt the impact as the minutes pass. It's a phantom vibration, low frequency hum, waiting for someday that's never gonna come. I'm a radio tower with a flickering beam, chasing the ghost of a neon-lit dream. I've done all the math, I've settled the debt, but I haven't found the trick to the how to forget. If it was just a muscle, if it was just a beat, I'd have found a way to be standing on my feet. But you're written in the ink of my very design, and I can't scrub you out of the bottom line. Yeah, my heart won't heal, it won't find the mend. It's a broken down story with a jagged edged end. I've applied the silence, I've applied the pride, but there's no place for a fractured spirit to hide. I'm a masterpiece ruined by a permanent tear, still living in the shadow of a never-end near. The world says I'm fine, but the spirit is real. And God, my heart won't heal. Still open to the cold to pull. In the middle of a story that's already been told. Not fixed, not fine, just surviving the line. My heart won't heal. I say the day I bought the ring, I prepared for the song we'd always sing. I saw a lifetime in the tilt of your head, in the quiet I love yous we whispered in bed. The house was a blueprint, the garden was planned. I had the whole world right there in my hand, but the clock didn't care about our design. It just kept on moving and crossing the line. They say nothing lasts, but I didn't believe that you'd be the one with a ticket to leave. I was building a temple, I was building a seed for a future that's now just a ghost of a need. You were supposed to be my last forever, the always I promised I'd never sever. The end of the road, the gold in the light, the hand I'd be holding in the dead of the night. Now I'm staring at pages that'll never never be turned, at a bridge to a someday that's already burned. How do I start a tomorrow that's new, when my last forever ended with you? I see the silver in the hair I won't touch. It's the little things, isn't it? They hurt so much. The trips we didn't take, the fights we didn't have, the salt in the wound that was meant to be salve. I'm a king of a kingdom that's turned into stone, sitting on a throne that I'm sitting in alone. I kept the receipt for the life that we bought, but you can't return a dream that's been caught. Till death do us part, felt so far away, like a line in a movie, a part in a play. But the curtain came down while the lights were still bright, and I'm standing here in the middle of the night. You were supposed to be my last forever, the always I promised I'd never sever, the end of the road, the golden light, the hand I'd be holding in the dead of the night. Now I'm staring at pages that'll never be turned, at a bridge to a someday that's already burned. How do I start a tomorrow that's new, when my last forever ended with you? No more next years, no more one days, just the echo of all of our always. You were my last, my very last, forever. I've stitched the skin and I've cleared the room. I've swept away the shadows and the gloom. I tell the world the fever finally broke, that I'm no longer breathing in your smoke. The bruises faded from the surface view, and I don't wake up screaming after you. But there's a place that medicine can't reach, a hollow shore, a white and silent beach. It's not the kind of ache that time can dull. It's a heavy, constant pressure in the skull. I'm a house with a solid painted wall, but the foundation is starting to fall, and my soul still hurts. It's a deep-seated chill, the kind that 1,000 summers couldn't kill. You didn't just break the heart in my chest, you took the always and you took the rest. I'm a ghost in a body, it's doing its part, but I'm missing the center, I'm missing the spark. see a sunset, and it feels like a thread, a beautiful reminder of what I should forget. I'm a radio tuned to a frequency of gone. Still work and set signals in the break of the dawn. It's the way the light hits a certain tree that brings the forever back home to me. I'm a traveler walking on invisible glass, watching the best of my history pass. If it was just a muscle, if it was just a bone, I'd have found a way to be standing alone. But you're written in the ink of my very design, and I can't scrub you out of the bottom line. Yeah, my soul still hurts. It's a deep-seated chill, the kind that 1,000 summers couldn't kill. You didn't just break the heart in my chest, you took the always and you took the rest. I'm a ghost in a body that's doing its part, but I'm missing the center, I'm missing the spark. The world says I'm fine, but the spirit alerts. God, my soul still hurts. Deep down in the marrow, in the path that is lonely and narrow, I'm walking, I'm breathing, but I'm never quite leaving the place where it hurts. My soul still hurts. I've mastered the art of the porcelain stare, the doing just fine when there's nobody there. I've practiced the hello that's steady and dry under the weight of a lead-colored sky. But the minute the latch on the front door is set, and I'm alone with the ghost of a silhouette, the salt starts to rise like a tide in the bay, washing the perfectly fine far away. It's not just a sense, it's a physical map of every old promise that fell in the gap. I don't have to speak or to whisper a word before the sound of the hollow is heard. And my tears know your name, they trace every line of the happily ever that's no longer mine. They don't need a song. The places in town where we used to belong, they follow the curve of the dent in the bed, repeating the darling that you never said. I'm a radio tower with a flickering beam, drowning in the middle of a neon-lit dream. I've dried out my spirit, I've settled the debt, but I haven't found the trick to the how to forget. They're the ink in the story, the stain on the silk, the bitterest taste in a glass of white milk, a river of always that's lost its way home, flowing through the marrow of a heart made of stone. Yeah, my tears know your name, they trace every line of the happily ever that's no longer mine. They don't need a reason, they don't need a cue, they just fall in the shape of the absence of you. I can tell my reflection that I moved the stone, but the water remembers what I won't own. In the middle of midnight, in the pouring of rain, God, my tears know your name. They're falling, they're falling, writing your shadow on a hollowed out face. Just a drop, just a blur, the permanent spirit of a ghost of a her. My tears know your name. I left the kettle on the stove to boil. I was thinking of the garden, the seeds and the soil. I thought you'd be back by the time it was gray. Just another Tuesday, just another day. But the whistle grew sharp and the water ran dry, and the sun took its time to crawl out of the sky. I'm still holding the conversation we had, for the air turned heavy and the silence went bad. There was no slam door, no final get out, no cinematic ending, a scream and a shout, just a shift in the gravity, a leak in the boat, and a see you later that's stuck in my throat. And it's a haunting kind of ghost to be led by the weight of the words that were never quite spread. No goodbye was said, no closure was found, just the echo of footsteps on the gravelly ground. I'm a book with the last chapter missing its ink, staring at the edge of the permanent brink. I'm waiting for a finish, I'm waiting for the red, but no goodbye was said. Your coat's on the hook like you're just in the hall. Your shadow is stretching across the far wall. I find myself pausing before I turn the key, like I'm expecting a version of you to find me. It's the open-endedness that's killing my chest, the until next time that won't let me rest. I'm a bridge that was built to a shore that's been moved, searching for love that's no longer approved. If you'd hated me, if you'd shouted my name, I'd have a fire to go out space where I'm still looking for the lines of your face. And it's a haunting kind of ghost to be led by the weight of the words that were never quite spread. No goodbye was said, no closure was found, just the echo of footsteps on the gravelly ground. I'm a book with the last chapter missing its ink, staring at the edge of a permanent blink. I'm waiting for a finish, I'm waiting for the red, but no goodbye was said. Still waiting, still fighting, if a pyramid back that you are providing, just to calm never appear. A ghost in the room and I'm getting delirious. No goodbye was said. I remember the mountain we used to climb, the way we built a fortress out of stolen time. We were marble and iron, we were granite and gold, a story for the ages that would never grow old. But I looked at my hands and the weight was gone, like a trick of the light in the break of the dawn. The walls didn't crash, they didn't even shake, they just thinned out like mist on a freezing lake. I tried to grab a handful of the always we made, but it slipped through my fingers like a ghost in the shade. There's no heavy wreckage, no stones on the ground, just a quiet vibration, a hollower sound. And our love turned dust in the palm of my hand, a beautiful castle built on nothing but sand. I'm breathing in the particles of what we used to be, while the wind blows the rest of you away from me. It's not a tragedy, a fire, it's not a sudden end, it's just the slow motion fading of a lover and a friend. I'm standing in the desert where the pattern used to trust, watching as our love turned up. I went to the closet to touch your old shirt, but the fabric was brittle and the memories were dirt. The ink on the letters is a pale sandy gray, like the words simply decided to wither away. We weren't defeated by a storm or a lie, we just let the well and the river run dry. Now I'm sweeping the hallway, I'm cleaning the shelf of the version of us and the version of myself. If I could pack it in a box, if I could bury the lead, I'd have something to show for the life that we led. But how do you mourn what you can't even hold, when the forever is just a story that's been told? Yeah, our love turned dust in the palm of my hand, a beautiful castle built on nothing but sand. I'm breathing in the particles of what we used to be, while the wind blows the rest of you away from me. It's not a tragedy, a fire, it's not a sudden just the slow motion fading of a lover and a friend. I'm standing in the desert where the garden used to trust, watching as our love turned dust. Just a haze in the rays of the sun, hitting the empty space. No more us, just the rust in the wind, blowing through the dust. Our love turned dust. I'm looking at the tabletop, the scattered wood and glue, trying to reconstruct the life I had before of you. I've got the edges of the frame, the corners of the sky, but there's a hollow in the center where the always used to lie. I check beneath the sofa, I check behind the door. I'm a scavenger for feelings on a dusty kitchen floor. But the more I try to fix it, the more I realize the picture's getting smaller right before my very eyes. It's like a jigsaw puzzle with the box top torn away, and the colors in the memory are bleeding into gray. I'm holding on to shadows, I'm reaching for the air, searching for a version of me that isn't even there. And these are the pieces I can't find, the ones you took and left behind, the how to breathe and the how to sleep, the promises I'm meant to keep. I'm a broken mirror, a fractured mind, staring at the pieces I can't find. I've got the words, but I've lost the why underneath the lead-colored sky. I found your old keychain in a box of winter gear, and for a second I could feel you standing right here. But the jagged little metal doesn't fit into the lock of the heavy-hearted silence and the ticking of the clock. I'm a map with missing borders, a book with missing lines. I'm a traveler who's ignoring all the danger signs. I try to build a future out of maybe end of mine, but I'm missing all the parts that used to make the world look bright. Did you drop them in the driveway? Did you lose them in the hall? Or But did you never really bring the whole of you at all? Now I'm left with half a story and a heart that's out of sync, watching all the could have beens just vanish in a blink. Yeah, these are the pieces I can't find, the ones you took and left behind, the how to breathe and the how to sleep, the promises I'm meant to keep. I'm a broken mirror, fractured mind, staring at the pieces I can't find. I've got the words, but I've lost the why underneath the lead-colored sky. Just a gap, just a hole, a slow motion leaking of the soul. I'm searching, I'm yearning, while the world keeps on turning in the pieces I can't find. We didn't just walk, we didn't just lean. We were a lightning strike in a forest of green. We ignored the warning, the tilt of the floor, and threw every shadow right out of the door. I saw a lifetime in the flash of your eyes. Before we had reasons for ifs and for whys, we built a cathedral on a fault line of grace, ignoring the gravity of this lonely place. They say take it slow, like they know how to breathe. When the air is afire, you don't wanna leave. We were a car with no brakes on a hill, and we're paying the price for the rush and the thrill. Oh, it's a long way down from the stars, staring at the wreckage and the permanent scars. We fell too hard, we burned too bright, like a beautiful comet in the middle of night. We didn't just break, we shattered to dust in the collision of always and absolute trust. I'm a bird with no wings in a backyard yard because we fell too hard. I'm picking up pieces that don't even fit, tracing the craters where the impact hit. We were a masterpiece, painted in haste. Now the forever is just a bitter taste. I'd do it again for the feel of the hype, before the good morning turned into good night. But the ground is so solid, the impact so real, and I've forgotten the way that the levels should feel. If we just been a spark, if we just been a flame, I wouldn't be shaking at the sound of your name. just a crash in the dark, the ghost of a beautiful, terrible spark. We fell too hard. I check the locks and I turn the heat high, but there's a draft coming down from a clear, open sky. I'm looking at your chair, it's a skeleton of wood. I'd put my heart there if I thought it'd do any good. The pictures on the mantle are starting to curl like the edges of a dying, forgotten old world. I'm reaching for a hand that I used to know well, but I'm grasping at the ringing of a cracked silver bell. It's not a sudden bang or a crashing of the glass, it's the way the minutes and the hours start to pass without a single darling or a how was your day, just a slow motion bleeding of the color into gray. And oh, the quiet is a different kind of loud when love disappears like a ghost in a crowd. You're still in the room, you're still breathing the air, but the us that I live for is no longer there. It's a hollowed out house, it's a fire gone cold, a beautiful story that's already been told. I'm a map with no ink, I'm a sky with no spheres, and a long, lonely second when love disappears. I see you in the kitchen, you're making some tea, but you're looking through the window, you're not looking at me. The I love yous are buried in a drawer with the mail, underneath the bills and the I'm sorry's that fail. We're ghosts in a hallway, we're dust on a shelf. The gravity's gone and we're starting to flow like the last little scrap of a desperate note. If I scream, would you hear me? If I cried, would you stay? Or have you already traveled 1,000 miles away? The bridge didn't burn, it just turned into mist, and I'm mourning the memory of a mouth I once kissed. Yeah, the quiet is a different kind of loud when love disappears like a ghost in a crowd. You're still in the room, you're still breathing the air, but the us that I live for is no longer there. It's a hollowed out house, it's a fire gone cold, a beautiful story that's already been told. I'm a map with no ink, I'm a sky with no spheres, in the long, lonely second when love disappears. It's gone, it's quiet, a peaceful and terrible kind of a ride. Just two separate lives that used to be together. When love disappears, there were no dishes shattered on the floor, no heavy slamming of the bedroom door. You didn't raise your voice or start a fight. You just slowly started turning out the light. I sat across the table watching you, while the sky outside was turning a bitter blue. You spoke in sentences so soft and clean, like a sharp thin blade that was never seen. It wasn't a landslide or a sudden crash, more like the cooling of a dying ash, a gentle pressure on a fragile shell, until I didn't even know myself. And you broke me quietly without a sound, like a snowfall hitting the frozen ground. No sirens wailing, no signals in the air, just a hollowed out heart and a ghost of a prayer. You took the always, and you took the we, in a way that left no wreckage for the world to see. A beautiful ruin, a silent tragedy. Yeah, you broke me quietly. I'm still going through the motions of the day, with the how are you and I'm okay. But the foundation is powder, the center is dust. Beneath the surface of a polished out trust, you're a master of the whisper and the calm, leaving me shaking with an empty palm. I'm a masterpiece with a hairline crack, watching the colors fade to gray and black. If you'd only screamed, I could have found the strength to measure the distance and the bitter length. But this nothing is a vacuum, a velvet-lined cell, where I'm whispering goodbye to a version of hell. Yeah, you broke me quietly without a sound, like a snowfall hitting the frozen ground. No sirens wailing, no signals in the air, just a hollowed out heart and a ghost of a prayer. You took the always, and you took the we, in a way that left no wreckage for the world to see. A beautiful ruin, a silent tragedy. Yeah, you broke me quietly. So still, so deep, a secret that I'm forced to keep. Not a snap, not a spark, just dissolving away in the dark. You broke me quietly. You didn't slam the door or raise your voice. You didn't give me any desperate choice. You sat me down with a gentle hand and spoke of things I didn't understand. It's not you and you're so kind. While you were leaving everything behind, a surgical strike with a velvet glove, killing the rest of our lonesome love. There was no lightning, no sudden crash, just the cooling of a dying ash. You were polite while you broke my heart, tearing my world slowly apart. And you let me down easy, you let me down slow, like a leaf that's forgotten which way to go. No jagged edges, no bitter debris, just a quiet goodbye that's drowning me. It's a beautiful mercy, a polished up lie, watching the forever bleed out of the sky. I'm a bird with no wings in a velvet cage, because you let me down easy at the end of the age. I'd have preferred a scream or a fight, something to burn through the middle of the night. But you were so steady, you were so calm, leaving me shaking with an empty palm. You checked on the mail and you turned out the light before you stepped into the shadow of the night. I'm a masterpiece ruined by a soft gray smear, living in the echo of a never-ending year. If you'd only hated me, if you'd only lied, I'd have a reason to stay by your side. But this kindness is heavy, this kindness is wide, with nowhere for a leftover lover to hide. Yeah, you let me down easy, you let me down slow, like a leaf that's forgotten which way to go. No jagged edges, no bitter debris, just a quiet goodbye that's drowning me. It's a beautiful mercy, a polished up lie, watching the forever bleed out of the sky. I'm a bird with no wings in a velvet cage, because you let me down easy at the end of the age. So kept the furnace running, I kept the blankets piled. I tried to find a summer in the way you never smiled. I thought if I gave enough of my own fever and flame, I'd see a flicker of a fire at the mention of my name. But you were a winter that I couldn't outrun, a beautiful landscape with a frozen over sun. I reached for a heartbeat, I reached for a spark, but I only found the edges of the quiet and the dark. It wasn't a sudden frost or a seasonal shift. It was a steady, silent widening of the drift. I was building a bonfire on a floor made of ice, paying for a maybe with a permanent price. And your love was cold, it was a bitter blue light, like a star that's already been dead for the night. I wrapped myself in it, I tried to stay warm, but I was just a ghost in a one-sided storm. There was no mercury rising, no thaw in the bone, just a castle of salt on a shivering throne. I'm finally leaving, I'm breaking the mold, because God, your love was cold. Your I love you fell like a draft through the door, a hollow vibration on a hardwood floor. I'd tell you my secrets, I'd show you my soul, and watch as you turned every ember to coal. You're a beautiful statue, you're a masterpiece of glass, watching the seasons and the centuries pass. I'm a bird with frozen wings trying to fly under the weight of your lead-colored style. If I'd stayed any longer, I'd have turned into stone, a monument to always in a graveyard alone. But I'm taking my matches and I'm taking my heat to a place where the winter and the never don't meet. Your love was cold, it was a bitter blue light, like a star that's already been dead for the night. I wrapped myself in it, I tried to stay warm, but I was just a ghost in a one-sided storm. There was no mercury rising, no thaw in the bone, just a castle of salt on a shivering throne. I'm finally leaving, I'm breaking the mold, because God, your love was cold, freezing, leaving. The silence is the only thing I'm breathing. No more shivering, no more blue. I'm finding the warmth that I never had in you. Your love was cold. I thought the sharpest edge was the day you walked, but it's the way the kitchen chair still talks. It's the phantom I'm standing alone in the checkout line. I tried to scrub the scent of you from the hall, but it's soaked into the wood and the very wall. I'm a prisoner of a ghost I can't even see, and every remember when is a lock with no key. They say that time is a river that flows, but I'm just a stone that the water ignores. I'm bracing for impact every time I breathe, waiting for the ghost of you to finally leave. And your memory hurts like a jagged little pill, like a winter wind that I can't quite still. It's a beautiful bruise, it's a slow burning fire. It's a never again in the heart of desire. I wanna forget, but I'm terrified too of the only thing left that is made out of you. So I'm holding the blade while the irony spurts. God, your memory hurts. I found a receipt from a movie we saw back when the love didn't have any flaw, and the date on the paper hit me like a stone, reminding me exactly how long I've been prone. I'm a museum of us, I'm a vault of before, still checking the shadow underneath the door. I see your face in the strangest smile, and it stops my heart for a country mile. It's not just the sadness, it's the physical ache, like a bone that was set but is starting to break. It's a haunting melody I can't stop humming, the sound of a train that I saw was coming. Yeah, your memory hurts like a jagged little pill, like a winter wind that I can't quite still. It's a beautiful bruise, it's a slow burning fire. It's the never again in the heart of desire. I wanna forget, but I'm terrified too of the only thing left that is made out of you. So I'm holding the blade while the irony spurts. God, your memory hurts. It's a needle, it's a thorn, it's the reason I'm quiet and the reason I'm warm. Just a flicker, just a sting of a beautiful, terrible, broken thing. Your memory